With the current global pressure against communism, many countries are making a choice between communism and democracy. Switzerland, a country that has always regarded itself as neutral, suddenly takes actions against the CCP and appears to be even more aggressive than the United States. In early August, the Swiss government announced that it would hold a referendum in November to decide to make companies liable for their activities overseas connected to human rights infringements. If this proposed law is voted through, Chinese human rights abusers won't be able to continue to store their corruption money in Swiss banks. The Swiss business operations in mainland China and Hong Kong will be affected. Swiss media reported that with the implementation of the national security law in Hong Kong, foreign banks will be affected and would have to review their customer base and may have to terminate contracts with persons who violate the CCP's laws. All of the Swiss global financial companies, including UBS, Credit Suisse, Julius Baer, Pictet, and Lombard Odier, etc., do business in Hong Kong, as many Asian clients transfer their wealth to Swiss banks. A few years ago, WikiLeaks disclosed that around 5,000 accounts in Swiss banks belong to senior CCP officials, two-thirds of which belong to central officials. Almost every vice premier, bank governor, minister, and central committee members have an account. Most bureau-level officials who have worked in Hong Kong also have Swiss bank accounts. A few days ago, Twitter user Taijing Lenye, an indifferent eye on finance and economics, tweeted that if the laws passed, about 20 trillion yuan in 5,000 accounts and 7.8 trillion yuan stored in UBS accounts belonging to senior CCP officials and their families could be frozen. This would be significantly more severe than the US sanctions against Hong Kong. The CCP officials are trembling. On August 2nd, Swiss Foreign Minister Ignazio Cassis told the media that the Hong Kong national security law endangered Swiss companies in Hong Kong. He also criticized the CCP for deviating from the path of reform and their severe violation of human rights. Cassis emphasized that China's political liberalization is not proportional to its economic liberalization, and the CCP's violations of human rights are worsening. If this continues, Western nations will likely respond vigorously. 5 days later, on August 7th, the Swiss government announced a referendum for the proposed law. Shi Shan, a Hong Kong current affairs commentator, said that Switzerland has not been in a war for more than 1,000 years. Some commentators say that the Swiss are compassionate and would make the right choice at critical moments even if the country had been neutral in the past two world wars. This time, however, in the battle between good and evil, they took the lead in opposing the CCP, which makes them respectable.